Stop. Listen, this is for you. If this message has found you today, understand this. It is not by accident. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to be here. Right now, in this very moment, there is a reason your spirit has been drawn to this message. You have always felt different. You have always sensed that something was unique about you. The way you see the world, the way you think, the way you experience life. It has never quite matched those around you. And that is because you are not like the rest. The world may have tried to convince you otherwise. They may have labeled you as too intense, too deep, too sensitive, too ambitious. You may have questioned yourself, wondering why relationships feel heavier for you, why betrayals cut deeper, why certain doors that opened so easily for others were slammed shut in your face. But I need you to hear this. You are chosen. This is not just a phrase. This is not just a feel-good statement. This is a divine reality. Being chosen means you were handpicked before you even took your first breath. Before your name was ever spoken on this earth, it was declared in heaven. You are not a mistake. You are not here to simply exist. You are here because there is something inside you that this world needs. And that is exactly why your journey has been different. You have faced battles that others would have crumbled under. You have endured trials that many would have surrendered to. You have walked through storms that left others broken. But you are still standing. Do you understand what that means? It means the weight you carry is not a curse. It is a sign that you were designed for something greater. A sign that God is calling you to rise above the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. A sign that you are not meant to blend in, but to break through. This is why you could never settle. This is why certain relationships fell apart, even when you tried everything to hold them together. This is why doors that seemed like golden opportunities were suddenly locked shut. Because you were never meant to fit into a world that was too small for your destiny. But let's be honest, sometimes it didn't feel like destiny. Sometimes it felt like punishment. The loneliness, the rejection, the feeling of being misunderstood. It hurt. It made you question yourself. It made you wonder if maybe you were the problem. But hear me, you were never the problem. You were simply walking a road that few can travel. You were navigating a path designed only for the chosen. And that path, though filled with obstacles, is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. But before you step fully into that calling, you must first understand this. Rejection was never meant to break you. It was meant to position you. Think about it. How many times have you wanted something so badly, only for it to slip through your fingers? Maybe it was a job you thought would change everything. A relationship you believed was meant to last. A dream that seemed so close, only to watch it collapse before your eyes. It hurt. It left you confused. It made you question if you were on the right path at all. But what if I told you that every single one of those losses was actually protection? What if I told you that God was never closing doors to harm you, but to save you? Because you were never meant to settle for less than what was divinely designed for you. What if that relationship you cried over was actually a trap meant to drain your spirit? What if that opportunity you lost was meant to redirect you to something far greater? What if the reason people walked out of your life was because God was removing distractions to make room for elevation? You see, when you are chosen, you cannot walk the same path as everyone else. Your calling is too great. Your anointing is too strong. Your destiny is too important. And that is why certain things could never work out for you. Not because you were unworthy, not because you were incapable, but because you were meant for something higher. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He was hated by his own brothers, betrayed, sold into slavery, thrown into prison for a crime he didn't commit. It seemed unfair. It seemed like his dreams were shattered. But in reality, Every single setback was setting him up for his breakthrough. Because when the time was right, Joseph was not just freed, he was elevated to power. The very ones who betrayed him had to come back and bow before him. What if the very things that felt like losses in your life were actually divine setups for something you cannot yet see? What if, right now, you are in the process of being positioned for something far greater than you imagined? Chosen ones do not have ordinary paths. Chosen ones face battles that prepare them for their purpose. And chosen ones do not stay in the pit forever. There is a moment when everything shifts. A moment when favor begins to follow you. A moment when what was once delayed is suddenly delivered. And for you, that moment is coming. But here's the question. Will you be ready for it? Will you trust that the things that didn't work out were never meant to? Will you stop looking at rejection as failure and start seeing it as redirection? Will you hold on to faith even when you cannot see the full picture yet? Because I promise you this, God is not done with you yet. What is coming is greater than what was lost. What is ahead is bigger than what is behind. And the doors that will open for you will make it all make sense. This is your confirmation. This is your moment to embrace the truth. You were never rejected. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared because you are chosen. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when they begin to realize that the weight they carry is different from others. The struggles seem heavier. The battles feel endless. The road is lonelier. And for the longest time, it feels like no one understands. You have asked yourself the question, why me? Why do others seem to glide through life while you have had to fight for every inch of progress? Why do people turn against you, even when your heart is pure? Why do you attract situations that test your strength to the limit? The answer is simple, because you are not like the rest. When God places a great calling on someone's life, He does not give them an easy path. He does not allow them to blend in with the crowd. He does not permit them to take shortcuts. Instead, He sets them apart. He refines them. He puts them through fires that burn away the parts of them that are not needed for their destiny. But let's be real, it does not always feel like a blessing. There are moments when the weight feels unbearable. There are nights when the tears come without warning. There are days when you wake up exhausted, not just physically, but spiritually. Because being chosen is not just a title, it is a responsibility. And that responsibility comes with burdens that others cannot carry. Think about Moses, chosen to lead an entire nation out of slavery, handpicked by God to stand before Pharaoh and demand freedom for his people. But before the miracles, before the Red Sea parted, before he was celebrated, he was isolated. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness tending sheep, 40 years in obscurity, 40 years of questioning himself, 40 years of waiting. Do you think he felt chosen? Do you think he felt like a great leader in the making? Or do you think he felt like you, forgotten, overlooked, unsure of what was next? But what Moses did not realize was that those 40 years were not wasted. They were training. They were preparation. God was shaping him into the man he needed to be for the mission ahead. And the same is happening to you. The loneliness, the rejection, the closed doors, it is all part of the process. You are not just going through this for no reason. You are being refined, strengthened, equipped for what is coming. Because when you are chosen, you cannot walk an ordinary path. The weight you carry is different, because the calling on your life is greater. And that is why certain people have been removed from your life. That is why you could never fit in, no matter how hard you tried. That is why things never seem to come easy for you. Because you are being set apart. And part of being set apart is experiencing the season of isolation. The season when friends disappear. The season when family does not understand you. The season when the people you thought would always be there are nowhere to be found. It is painful. It is confusing. But it is necessary. Because God cannot elevate you while you are still attached to things and people that cannot go where you are going. Think about Joseph. When his brothers betrayed him and sold him into slavery, it looked like abandonment. When he was thrown into prison for a crime he did not commit, it looked like injustice. But in reality, God was moving. Every betrayal, every lonely night, every unfair situation, it was all leading him to the palace. Because when God calls you, He will separate you. He will remove distractions. He will clear your path. He will take you through a process that may not make sense now, but one day, everything will become clear. The problem is that many people do not survive the isolation season. They get discouraged, they turn back, they run from the process. But the chosen ones, they endure. They trust that the pain has a purpose. They understand that before elevation comes separation. So if you feel like you are in a season where everything is being stripped away, do not panic. It is a sign that God is about to move. It is a sign that something greater is ahead. It is a sign that you are being positioned for your destiny. And when that shift happens, favor will follow you. Doors will open that you did not even knock on. Opportunities will come out of nowhere. You will walk into rooms where you do not even meet the qualifications, yet they will choose you. Not because of luck, not because of human effort, but because you carry something different. The favor of God is not something that can be earned. It is something that is placed upon the chosen ones. Look at Daniel. No matter where he went, he stood out. Thrown into a foreign land, yet he was preferred. Thrown into a lion's den, yet he was protected. The favor of God made him untouchable, and that same favor is on your life. That is why certain things are drawn to you. People notice you, even when you try to stay low-key. Opportunities find you, even when you are not searching. Doors open, even when you do not have all the credentials. But here is the truth. Favor does not come without opposition. The moment people sense there is something different about you, they will try to block you. They will gossip about you. They will try to sabotage you. They will hate you for no reason. And you will wonder, why? Why do they come against me when I have done nothing to them? Why do people dislike me when I have only shown kindness? Why do they envy me when I do not even have everything I desire yet? It is not about you, it is about the favor on you. Daniel was not attacked because he was ordinary. He was attacked because his favor made him stand out. And when people cannot figure out why you are winning, they will try to bring you down. They will question your success. They will challenge your decisions. They will make up lies just to see you fall. But what they do not realize is that when God's hand is on your life, no attack can prosper. When Joseph's brothers tried to destroy him, they were unknowingly setting him up for greatness. When Daniel's enemies tried to have him killed, they were unknowingly creating an opportunity for him to be exalted. When people come against you, understand this. They cannot stop what God has ordained. They can try. They can plot. They can throw stones. But at the end of the day, favor will always win. Because what God has for you, no man can take away. So if you feel like you have been under attack, if you feel like people are trying to dim your light, if you feel like the opposition has been increasing, take it as a sign that your favor is becoming undeniable, a sign that you are stepping into something greater, a sign that your enemies see something in you that you may not even see yet. So do not shrink back. Do not play small. Do not apologize for your anointing. Because the favor on your life is not going anywhere. You are chosen, you are set apart. And no matter who tries to stop it, you are unstoppable. There is a reason you feel like you are in a waiting season. A time where everything seems to be moving forward for everyone else. But for you, it feels like things are standing still. You have prayed, you have worked, you have done everything in your power to move forward. Yet, the breakthrough you have been expecting has not come. The doors you were sure would open remain closed. The opportunities you thought were meant for you have slipped away. And now you are asking, God, what is happening? Why am I still here? You see, when you are chosen, your path is not like everyone else's. You do not move on human timing. You move on divine timing. And divine timing does not follow the rules of this world. It does not move according to deadlines, to schedules, or to human expectations. It moves according to God's perfect plan. Right now, it may feel like you are being delayed, but what if you are actually being prepared? What if this season of waiting is not a punishment, but a setup for something far greater than you imagined? Think about David. He was anointed as king while he was still a shepherd boy. The oil was poured over his head, the promise was declared, the prophecy was set in motion. And then, nothing happened. David did not immediately sit on the throne. He did not step into power overnight. Instead, he was sent back to the fields, back to the sheep, back to the ordinary, while his destiny remained ahead of him. Can you imagine how that must have felt? Knowing that you are called for something greater, but having to wait. Watching others step into their blessings while you remain unseen. It would have been easy for David to doubt, to question the promise, to wonder if maybe he had heard wrong. But here is what he did not realize. The waiting was necessary. Because David was not just anointed for the throne, he had to be prepared for it. He had to develop the strength, the wisdom, and the leadership that the position required. And that could not happen overnight. So while he waited, God trained him. In the fields, he learned how to fight off lions and bears, skills that would later prepare him to defeat Goliath. In obscurity, he learned humility, so that when he became king, he would rule with wisdom, not pride. What looked like a delay was actually divine preparation. And the same is happening to you. Right now, you are being prepared. Your character is being refined. Your patience is being tested. Your faith is being strengthened. Because what is coming is too great for you to step into unprepared. If God gave it to you right now, it would overwhelm you. If He opened the doors too soon, you would not be able to handle what is on the other side. So instead, He is making sure that when you arrive, you will be ready. But here is what happens. Most people give up in the waiting. They get tired, they get discouraged, they stop believing. And because they stop believing, they stop preparing. And because they stop preparing, they miss the moment when everything shifts. Because there is a moment when everything changes. It does not come with a warning. It does not come with an announcement. One day you wake up and everything is the same, and then suddenly everything is different. Opportunities appear. Doors open. Favor follows you. The acceleration begins. The same people who doubted you will wonder where you came from. The same ones who overlooked you will suddenly recognize your value. It will seem like you are moving faster than everyone else. But in reality, you are not moving faster. You are simply stepping into the blessing at the exact time God designed for you. Think about Joseph. One moment, he was in prison, forgotten, isolated. And the next, he was standing before Pharaoh, stepping into his God-ordained position of power. He went from a prisoner to a ruler in one day. Because when the time comes, God does not need years to elevate you. He does not need human approval. He does not need a long, drawn-out process. When it is time, He will move suddenly. And when God moves, nothing can stop it. So if you feel like nothing is happening right now, do not mistake silence for inactivity. God is working. Things are shifting behind the scenes. And when the moment of acceleration comes, it will come without warning. The question is, will you be ready? Because when the acceleration begins, you will not have time to prepare. When the doors open, you will need to walk through them immediately. When the opportunity comes, you will need to step into it boldly. That is why this waiting season matters. Because right now, in this moment, you are being shaped. Your mindset is being elevated. Your spirit is being strengthened. Your wisdom is being refined. You are being positioned for the shift. And when it happens, when the favor starts following you, when the blessings start chasing you, when everything aligns in a way you cannot explain, you will understand why you had to wait. Because what is coming is bigger than what you prayed for. It is greater than what you imagined. It is more than what you thought you deserved. And it is coming sooner than you think. So do not grow weary. Do not give up. Do not lose faith. Because when God moves, it will happen suddenly. You need to understand something very important. Being chosen is not just a privilege, it is a responsibility. Many people want the blessings, but they do not want the burden. They want the favor, but they do not want the fight. They want the crown, but they do not want the cross. But here is the truth. You cannot carry the anointing without also carrying the assignment. The weight of your calling is heavy. It will demand things from you that others will never understand. It will require sacrifice. It will require discipline. It will require walking away from certain habits, certain people, and certain environments that no longer align with your destiny. And that is where most people fail. Because it is easy to say, "I am chosen." It is easy to get excited when you hear about the favor of God. But when it comes time to walk in obedience, when it comes time to let go of things that no longer serve your purpose, when it comes time to sacrifice comfort for calling, that is when people turn back. But you cannot turn back. You have come too far. You have fought too many battles. You have endured too many storms to stop now. This is the moment where you decide, will you step into your calling or will you shrink back? Because being chosen is not about words. It is about action. It is about making the hard decisions. It is about standing firm in faith even when nothing makes sense. It is about pushing forward when every part of you wants to quit. You do not get to claim the blessing if you are not willing to walk in the responsibility. Look at Esther. She was an orphan. She had no power, no influence, no title. But when God placed her in a position of favor, it was not just for herself, it was for her people. She had a choice. She could have stayed silent. She could have ignored the responsibility and continued living comfortably in the palace. But she understood something. The favor on her life was not just for her, it was for a greater purpose. That is why she declared, "If I perish, I perish." She was willing to sacrifice everything to walk in her calling. And because of her obedience, an entire nation was saved. Now let me ask you, are you willing to do the same? Are you willing to step into your purpose even when it costs you something? Are you willing to embrace the weight of your calling, even when it means walking alone? Because being chosen is not about popularity. It is not about comfort. It is not about making life easier. It is about impact. It is about obedience. It is about fulfilling the divine assignment that has been placed on your life. And that means you must stop running from the process. Stop resisting the refining. Stop avoiding the discipline that God is trying to instill in you. Because you cannot step into the next season with the same mindset, the same habits, the same level of faith that you have now. You must grow. You must elevate. You must embrace the transformation that is required for your destiny. Because there is coming a moment when everything you have been waiting for, everything you have been praying for, everything you have been preparing for, will suddenly come to pass. A moment when the shift happens. A moment when God opens the doors. A moment when everything aligns in a way you never saw coming. And when that moment comes, you must be ready. This is why God has been testing you. This is why the waiting season has felt so long. This is why you have had to let go of people, of places, of things that no longer align with your purpose. Because when the time comes, you cannot hesitate. You cannot be unsure. You cannot be unprepared. You must step into it boldly. Because this is what happens when you are truly chosen. The opportunities that come your way will not be ordinary. The doors that open will not be small. The favor that follows you will not make sense. People will ask, how did this happen? They will wonder, why are they being elevated so quickly? They will whisper, this doesn't make sense. And that is because the favor of God defies logic. It does not follow human rules. It does not operate on earthly timing. It moves in a way that leaves people speechless. Look at Joseph. One moment he was in a prison. The next he was standing before Pharaoh, stepping into the position that had been destined for him all along. He did not have to force it. He did not have to manipulate it. He did not have to chase it. When the time was right, the opportunity found him. And that is exactly what is about to happen for you. What is meant for you will find you. The favor that has been declared over your life will manifest. The prophecy that has been spoken will come to pass, not because of who you are, not because of what you have done, but because of who God is. Because He is a promise keeper, because His word never fails, because when He declares something over your life, no power in hell can stop it from coming to pass. This is your moment. This is your confirmation. You are chosen. You are called. You are walking into something greater than you ever imagined. And when it happens, do not be surprised, because this was always the plan. Everything you have been through was leading to this. Everything you have endured was preparing you for this. And now the time has come. The shift is here. The breakthrough is now. Step into it. Walk boldly. Move forward without fear. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what God has set in motion for your life.